top corner. And we are live.
All right, take it away, Corey.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight for this first and hopefully what will become a series of HOAs about using Google in the classroom and increasing our knowledge to better help our students. So today we have Daniel and Chris, and they are going to be talking about using maps in the classroom. So take it away, guys.
All right, thanks, Corey. My name is Dan Kaufman. I am from the Wilson School District, which is just outside of Reading, Pennsylvania, and I'm here with my colleague Chris McCaffrey, who'll be posting some links and just giving up ideas and stuff like that. So we're going to get started with the presentation. I put the link in the Q&A, but if you want, hold on, let me just share my screen. And you can grab the link from the presentation as well. All right, so does everyone, you guys can see the presentation?
Looks good, Dan.
All right, great. Before we get going, if you guys could follow or get to this URL, it's on the third slide. It's a form for your school district, and basically it's a quick form to fill out, and we're going to put that information into a form, and then we're going to grab that spreadsheet and upload that data into a Google map we're going to create. All right. So once again, this is Google Maps. We're going to talk about the ways you can integrate this into your curriculum, hopefully in history classes, math classes, and wherever you see an application for it. The expectations for today are basically, how do I create and share a Google Map? How do I edit Google Maps? How do I import data? And how can I use Google Maps in my classroom? Hopefully you'll be able to answer all those questions by the end of this. And we're getting some other people to enter some things in this form, which is great. I'll give you guys some time to get back to this, so hopefully we can get a decent number of people in there.
In the meantime, I'll throw a link in there to another person online who uses Google Earth as her resume, and it could be
expectations for today are basically, how do I create and share a Google Map? How do I edit Google Maps? How do I import data? And how can I use Google Maps in my classroom? Hopefully you'll be able to answer all those questions by the end of this.
I think somebody just started watching the video while they're in the video.
Some things in this form, which is great. I'll give you guys some time to get back to it.
So let's figure out who it is. Probably me, right? I'm at the event, so I'm going to leave that event.
We're good?
It's possible that you're on two windows. Thought it was Chris's mic, though.
I'm not on two windows anymore.
Okay.
I had the event open. I don't know if the video started to play in the event.
Well, we're good now.
Okay. So real quick, if you want to get to Google Maps, you can go to maps.google.com, or you can click on this the 9-digit tic-tac-toe thing, whatever we're going to call it, and go down to more, and you can find maps. I find this is slow to load.
The app box in my district.
What is it?
We call it the app box.
Okay, the app box, the app launcher, whatever. I guess the app launcher's at the bottom, but you can get to your maps, and they eventually come up. It takes a little while to load, and you hit create, or you can go to see all your maps. I prefer to go to mymaps.google.com. I think it's a little faster.
I also like, if you're in Drive, you just click New, and you can just go to Google My Maps. Right from Drive, it'll take you there.
Did they roll that out for all the Google apps?
Yeah.
Sure
it's in my personal, and it's in my domain.
Okay. I haven't seen it in my domain yet. I've seen it in my personal. Either way, it's as easy as just creating a new map, and I'll give you a quick tour of some of the tools that are just really easy to get to. These three dots right here will give you the ability to delete the map, which is big, because I started creating a bunch of maps, and it's a little tricky to delete them, but that's how you would delete them. If you want to share it, it's just like sharing a Google Doc. You can make them public, private, only certain people can edit, certain people can view it. If you want to search for an address, such as, we'll search for West Lawn, PA, you'll notice it's going to put a green pin on the map. That pin is temporary until you hit Add to the Map. Once you do, it'll turn it red. All right. And some other tools here, you have the ability to click on the pin. You can delete it. You can find directions to here. You can edit it, so you can put in information about this, in school district, something like that. Right? You have the ability on the left-hand side here to format that pin as well. You can change the color, you can change its shape and all. You can bedazzle it however you want. You'll also see down here where it says base map. That is the, if you're going to satellite or if you're just going to the road map, whatever the case may be. There's 9 different choices there. I usually only ever mess with the first 2. Obviously, if you're going to do the satellite map, it's going to be a little bit slower. So we'll just stick to the road map. All right. Up here we have the draw a line tool. So you have the ability to add a line or shape. The nice thing about this tool, if you're in a math class, as you make that shape, you'll see here where it says 7.98 acres. It's a great tool, like if you wanted to find how much grass seed you need for your yard before you go to Home Depot or Lowe's. You can figure out the acreage of your yard, how many square feet, and you can go and actually buy the right size bag, which is nice. Right? And you can take this shape and you can drag it around. You can edit these points to change the shape and stuff like that. Right. To delete the shape, just simply click on it and hit delete.
And Dan, there was an idea we had together. I remember we were talking about how much grass our school district cuts and how much money we must waste in gas and time of labor. And what a great idea possibly for a math classroom to calculate the area of grass that your school district cuts and maybe some different ways we could start to save some money too.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool tool. There's the direction tool, which if I put another point on here, I can find the directions to and from a location. Going back to here, you also can find a walking route. So if you have a trail that you walk at your house, you can find out how long or how far you're walking. Let me zoom in again here. There's also the ruler up here. I zoomed in too far. The ruler tool is nice for finding distances. So once again, you could use this if you went for a jog or a walk around your neighborhood. You could see how far you went, 1.93 miles, which would be nice. All right, so let's see how we're doing on that form. Looks like we have 6 people that filled it out. So that's fine. We can work with that. All right, I'm going to delete this map because I'm not going to use it. So what I'm going to do now is, suppose you're a teacher and you have kids do a presentation. All right, and you want to put the presentation. Suppose they're doing a presentation of the cities in Pennsylvania. And each kid has a different city, and they do a presentation. They do something about the area, and you want them to get the link of the presentation and also the location in the map. What you could do is set up a form that asks for the city, the state, the zip code, whatever, and also a link to their presentation. I would ask them to shorten the URL though, and if you noticed in my form, I asked specifically that you put www in front of the link. When I go to import the data, so here I have a map I already created. That's called the Google Educators Eastern PA. I'm going to open that.
Don't forget to share it.
Yeah, I'll share it. I'll do that first. I'm just going to make this public so that anyone with the link can edit it. And if you're already looking at it, just give it a refresh.
Because Dan, this is the moment of truth, right?
Yeah.
I want to see the way your spreadsheet's laid out and why this never works for me.
Right. So here's
the tech director now. That's
back to that spreadsheet. Let's go.
So this is the problem I was having.
You're a tech director, Phil. That's your problem.
I wanted these links to show up in the description of the point, and I couldn't get them to work as hyperlinks unless there was www in the front, and they couldn't be links in the spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these links, and I'm going to right-click, and just go to remove. I'm going to remove all those links. So now they're just plain text. All right. You have to do that, otherwise you get an error in that field for some reason. I don't know why. So here we go. I have this layer here, and you can add multiple layers, and this layer is going to be all the information.
Back to your spreadsheet for a second. I noticed that you hid some of the columns. Obviously, you hid the timestamp.
Yep. The timestamp, I could show you the email address that I collected.
Yep.
And yeah, that's it. Those two.
And that shouldn't make a difference.
No, I just hid them because I didn't want a whole bunch of people seeing them. I was just gathering them for my Google submissions for trainings.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to import, and I'm going to select this file from my drive. It's called School District Responses. Hopefully it comes up quickly. School District Responses. And this first section here is asking what information from that spreadsheet are we going to use to put your pins on the map. And I'm going to say I want the school district name, the city, the state, the zip code. I'll put the country too. There's nobody out of country from what I saw. And I'm going to hit continue. This next question is asking me, what do you want to title your markers with? And I'm going to say, you know what, let's title them with the school district name, so that way if I put the title on there, it'll show up as the school district. And I'm going to hit finish. And it should zoom in to maximize the screen to get all the pins into one spot. All right, and there we are. So I have, these are my coworkers, and we have Upper Dublin School District, and we have the School District of Philadelphia. All right, Phil, was that okay?
Yep. And so what happens is that does not happen for me. So what happens is when I select a spreadsheet, so I'm going to select that spreadsheet right now. I want to get the results. So hold on a second. So if it's a form, if I'm results from a form, I don't get. I'll get an error message.
Really? Well, yeah. Like I said, I can share this sheet with you and see if it works with my sheet. I don't know.
If I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and a form, and I'll quickly. There we go. So I say I get the snap. Upload failed. Column names cannot include these characters. And then it's quotes, colons, brackets. Well, you know why? I think it's this. I know what it is. So I just figured it out. Whenever I run this form, I'm combining also the autocrat script as part of the form. And so what happens is that, I'm doing some kind of training, and I start with everyone completing a form, and as soon as they complete the form, not only am I trying to get the same pin mark to do this mapping activity that you just did, and have it populate with a pin that's got lots of data, I also want an email coming right to their phone with a customized, personalized email. So
that's what's.
And those brackets they're generated by the script, and so that must be.
That makes sense.
All right. Well, good to know.
Needs to do. They need to make it so that multiple things will work together on a spreadsheet.
All right.
Yeah. But as Chris said, I should know that now.
You can see now that it did pull up the district web page as a hyperlink, which is really nice, which will open up in a new tab if you click on it. And if you hit edit on this, you can edit any of these if there was a typo. Like I said, if you were a teacher and you were putting these points from kids' presentations, but you wanted them in a specific order, over here where it says individual styles, I could pick. I don't want individual styles. I want a sequence of colors and letters. and you can see it made a sequence of colors and letters. I think A is below the B here, yeah. But suppose you didn't want that. Suppose you wanted Upper Dublin to be the first school. You wanted that to be the first stop on the tour of school districts in southeastern Pennsylvania. All you'd have to do is just take it and drag it to the top, and you'll see it'll make Upper Dublin School District red, and that'll be the first tour. Now that becomes the letter A, which is really nice. Right?
Nice.
This also gives you the ability, initially it was set up as uniform style.
Did you
which
go
is
back to how you changed the sequence there? You just dragged?
You just drag it up, yeah. Initially, it's set up as a uniform style. So if I go to change the color of these pins, they're all going to change, which you may or may not want. But I want you guys, I gave you guys editing rights. I want you guys to be able to change your pin. I want you to bedazzle it. So I'm going to go to individual styles. And now you can select each one independently and change your pin. So what I would like you guys to do is click on your school district, change the pin, and also, well, let's just leave it at that for now. Just change your pin, make it something nifty. And
in the
refresh.
presentation, the link to the map is in the presentation? Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
Fifth slide.
Sorry, slide 3, I believe.
Yeah.
Slide 5 is the map. Slide 3 was the form.
Okay, slide 5. And there's an add-on, or sorry, an extension that'll refresh your screen for every 2 seconds, 5 seconds, every minute. With Google Maps, you're going to want to refresh your screen every once in a while. So if you're walking around the classroom, it might be a good extension to put on. Just search Auto Refresh Chrome extension, and you can find there's a handful of them out there. So I'm just going to refresh the screen here and see what we have. All right, you can see one was changed to a star. Phil or Corey, did you guys change yours?
I did.
I'm working on it right now. I'm grabbing. Here we go.
I changed mine, Dan.
But I was going to look at the different icons and have some fun with it.
So there we go. So now I just added. I made mine a pin and then added an image. So if you click on it.
I am going to change mine to the atomic symbol because I am the bomb when it comes to teaching STEM.
Mine didn't update.
Let me just give it a second and we'll refresh it. You'll notice also on your pins, if you click on the pencil, you get a little camera button. You can add pictures or videos, and it creates like a little slideshow right in this information part right here, where you can have like just like an intro picture or video about your school district or whatever the case might have been for your map.
There we go.
Let me give a refresh here.
See, Philly should be cool now.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, wow.
Click on it. I had some fun.
I have to refresh.
Did you add any pictures or anything?
I did. I added a picture of my school building.
Okay, let me refresh again. I have heard of instances where teachers are using this with students, and once you start adding additional layers, it gets a little wonky. For instance, like right now, we're going to have to keep refreshing, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but once you start adding layers and you have multiple editors, it can get a little silly. But yeah, all right, that looks great.
Just a little shout out. That's the art teacher at our school that did that mural. She is incredible.
Very good. All right. Now, suppose you have a kid that's absent and you want to add them. And you're like, how do I add? I don't want to re-upload all the data. What you can do is just go to Open Data Table, and this is actually going to give you a spreadsheet within your map, and you can just right-click anywhere and go Add a Row. And it'll just add a blank row, and you can fill in those pieces if you wanted to. All right, so adding individual pins is really nice. All right, and don't forget, you can change the base layer and things like that. All right.
I'm trying to add a driving route, but it doesn't let me.
Yeah, that's an issue, isn't it, Dan?
Well, if the map is public, only editors, well, actually, only editors can add driving routes. You should be able to add a driving route, and what it does is it creates a new layer. But if you make a map public so that anyone can view it, they're not going to be able to make their own driving routes unless you've already made them for them, and they can turn on and off those layers, which is kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
I'd like to put a whole bunch of pins on here, like suppose you're an athletic director, and you had all the pins of all the buildings, you know, the athletic facilities. It'd be great if someone could just click on it and say, get directions to here or to here or to here. But it doesn't work quite like that yet. So directions to here. And over here on the left-hand side, you see it made a new layer. I could pick that pin, and there are the directions. Now, Phil, you couldn't do that, you said?
Yeah, no, I can't.
Okay. I wonder if I add you as a personal, you know.
Wait, let me try again. I didn't try the directions. I just tried to put in a driving route.
Yeah, the direction is grayed out when I click on like my icon.
Yeah.
Only the pencil and the trash can are there, but the direction is grayed out.
Maybe it's just the owner, or if I could try adding you guys. You want me to add you?
Sure.
It says directions can only be added by the map owner if you hover over it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We won't mess around with that then.
Yeah, just good catch.
All right, and I can just turn off this layer if I don't want it on there, and I can turn it back on, or I can just delete it. You can also see here where it says step-by-step directions. So this is just like in Google Maps. You can get directions from one place to the other.
Yeah.
All right, I'll show you one other cool thing here. I showed you this area tool. Let me zoom out one more time.
The fun of live shows when the map has to buffer.
Yeah. Delete that layer. So if I add a line or a shape, look what happens. You can see how that top arc is curved. Look what happens as I drag this further north, because, well, looking at a sphere on a flat surface, the shape gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But the area stays the exact same, which is neat. Kind of like how Greenland is not as big as it looks over there. But all right, so that is importing data. It is pretty straightforward. Like I said before, the biggest thing is for me was figuring out these individual styles and sorting them. But once you figure that out, it is pretty straightforward. I mentioned the formatting the pins, getting directions, the shapes and areas. I put a slide in here for the limitations. I put in here about removing the links if you're going to upload them and you can't find directions. And I posted some resources down here. I'll show you the geo greeting because I think it's pretty neat. The geo greetings is basically, you can type anything you want in here and it'll find images that fit those letters. So you can find different areas, different places on the map that have buildings that look like those letters. So if you wanted to send your loved one a Valentine next year, this might be a creative way to do that. I wouldn't recommend it though.
Didn't like that?
I don't know. But anyway, there's a bunch of links here. Chris, if you want to take over for this last slide.
Yeah, we just have a one-to-one site visit happening at Wilson School District on May 26th. More information will be pushed out through the GEG group for Eastern PA and through Google Plus and Twitter and stuff like that as more information comes available. Planning that now. And then June 16th and 17th, we ran a Google Summit. Actually, Phil, it was a big part of that last year. Really great event. Rich Kiker, a lot of really good presenters. We're mixing that up with our Common Core Connections conference that was run by our IU, and bringing together just the Common Core type instructional practices and with technology integration on top of that. So there were 2 different conferences last summer. Now we're combining them into one. It is free for any teacher or educator in Berks County, all the school districts in Berks County, and it's only $25 for anyone outside of Berks County. So all are welcome. Again, we're trying to get that put together too, and if you notice there at the bottom, there's a link if you are interested in presenting, and we'll throw that into the chat too as well. So I also am going to throw in some other ideas into the Google Plus event for today for this Hangout on Air. One of them earlier was just a Google Earth resume. Another one that I'm just posting in now is a distance project that a teacher used in geometry and had their kids basically figure out the distance formula using Google Maps and try to incorporate calculus and actually how Google Maps actually does it. You know, kind of maps back to them understanding the distance formula too as well. And I'll throw some others in there too for some ideas. Another one another teacher did was with perpendicular bisectors. Like, for instance, how does Papa John's decide in New York City where the heck the pizza should come from? Well, they really use the idea of perpendicular bisectors to kind of get the shortest distance between the different places. So I'll throw that in there too. It's a generic worksheet. It's not really mapped out the idea, but the worksheet would propagate the idea of like having the kids go and figure out, you know, is Papa John's making some good decisions on where they're placing their pizza shops in Philadelphia or something like that. So some really cool things in math, obviously, and science. They're pretty applicable. But maybe you've also heard about history tours, where students create history tours around. That's a website mainly for Google Earth, but you can use Google Maps to do it with a Chromebook or tablet, you know, maybe. And Sarah just posted there. It's also a great tool for ELA, one of our other tech coaches. She's our balance of all of our math and techie geeks on our team, and she's our elementary language arts expert that we have.
Something I was going to say is a project I did with my kids is a bit of a scavenger hunt. We were just doing severe weather, so I put pins on the 10 cities that had the most severe storms in the last 100 years, and the kids had to look up the information and fill it in the rest of the way. So that's another option to incorporate science or like non-measurements type of stuff, or give just more types of programs.
Mm-hmm.
So, great. I don't see any other questions in the chat room or on the event page. So I know you answered Phil's question already. If people had more questions, should they just post them to the event, or do you want them to?
Post them to the event, or just shoot me an email, or hit me up on Google+. That's fine.
All right.
Whatever's easier.
It's still around.
What's that?
As long as it's still around.
Yeah.
No.
I knew I'd get you stirred up.
Well, yeah, you will. You're right, because I freaked. You know, you see that, and the first thing is like, well, wait, that's my PLN, right? Because I don't like Twitter.
Yeah.
Because I like to ask a question and get meaningful answers, not 140 characters, right? And I definitely don't want 1,000 links to 1,000 people's blogs, right? Like, I get it, right? You blog, because who's reading it? All the other bloggers who pretend to read each other's blogs. No one's reading it. No one's reading any of it, right? They're just going ahead and you know, and go ahead and make a comment on your blog, you make a comment on my blog, we feel important and loved. It's like Facebook. So, but in Google Plus, I can ask a meaningful question and get some like awesome answers right off the bat. It's a great, and I don't care what you call it. Like if you're gonna call it, you know, stream. Like first of all, when I think of Google Stream, I think of two things when I see the word stream. I think of a little stream in a forest, right? And I think about taking a leak in a forest. And those are the only two things that come to my mind, right? Like you would think the largest multinational, you know, global think tank innovative company could come up with a slightly better name than Google Stream. Because that's like Google Wave. That's just not going to fly. It's
That's
just,
what I was thinking.
I mean, you know, can you just bring back Google Notebook so we can kill OneNote? I'm saying this on this Hangout on Air Live just in case someone hears it somewhere. You know, bring back Google Notebook so we can kill OneNote and be done, right? And just do whatever you need to do to make the communities work. Communities and Hangouts, brilliant, right? Keep that going.
Yeah, yeah. I think they'll make some good decisions on how it's going to work, but it'll be.
Well, I don't have a lot of confidence just because of the name they picked right out the stream. It'll work.
Dan, great job.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Corey, for setting this up. Thanks, Phil.
Absolutely, Corey. Thanks for your leadership on this. It's awesome.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Chris. Hopefully, we'll have another great presentation for next month.
Sounds good.
Hope so. All right, take care, guys.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Actually, Corey, you can just kill the live part.